Okay, so convex combination of two vectors. Now, this is the hardest of the vector mathematics videos. All right, but it's actually, when you go through it, it's not that hard at all. It just takes a while to get your head around, especially if you're not a student that's currently studying maths. Okay, so convex combinations is a process of multiplying vectors and producing another vector which is within the boundaries of the two, known as the convex hull. So, as an example, let's take the two vectors on the right hand side. A grid background has been used to really help you visualize this. It took me a while to set up this video. So hopefully you can see, based on the grid, how the following vectors have these magnitudes and directions. Because you can see C is 4, 9, and D is 8, 4. Okay, so hopefully you understand those magnitudes and directions, because they'll come back into play in a little while. So the idea is of using the following formula, which is known as convex combination of two vectors. We can create a vector which will fall somewhere on that dotted line, and we can choose where. Okay, so the formula is Q equals alpha AB plus beta AC. Okay, that's the formula. We obviously have got D and C, so it'd be slightly different than A and C, but that's the formula you probably see. Now, this, if we're going to simplify that formula down, it essentially means this. So you take whatever alpha is, times it by 4, then take it again, times it by 9, and then you add that to the beta times by 8 and the beta times by 4. Now, we obviously need values for alpha and beta before we can do this, and this isn't the sort of thing that you can do in your head. And the reason being is the rule is that when choosing your value for alpha and beta, the rule is that they both must be greater than or equal to 0, so they can't be less than 0. But when added together, they should equal 1. So, for example, if alpha was 0.3, beta would have to be 0.7. If alpha was 0.4, beta would have to be 0.6, because they've got to equal 1. So if I therefore pick two values, so I'm going to say alpha is 0.7 and beta is 0.3, and we've got our two vectors there, and we're going to follow this formula. So we're going to do, so we're going to do 0.7 times 4 and then times 9, and we're going to do 0.3 times 8 and times 4. Sorry about the skipping bags because I'm touching the screen. So 0.7 times 4 is 2.8. I've used a calculator, I'm not doing this in my head. 0.7 times 9 is 6.3. 0.3 times 8 is 2.4. 0.3 times 4 is 1.2. And then we simply add those together, and we get 5.2 and 7.5. So what I mean by add those together is, remember, we add 2.8 to 2.4 to get 5.2, and 6.3 to 1.2 to get 7.5. And what we end up with is 5.2, which is just in here, go up from 5.2 to 7.5, and you see we're dead on that line. And where we were on that line depends on the 0.7, 0.3. So we're obviously 0.7 away from that, 0.3 away from that, and that's where we are. And that's convex combination of two vectors.